We have seen Donald Trump make a lot of strange, criminal, unconstitutional, crazy, unnecessary, weird, wild. There's a million ways to describe all of the awful decisions Donald Trump has made to start his presidency. But one he made today might be the most hypocritical of them all. I'm not going to say it's the worst, but it certainly is insane because of what he is allowing Elon Musk to do and what he has decided a different person cannot. And that'll all make sense in just a second. But before we get into it, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, Donald Trump decided to make this weird and hypocritical decision in a decree via Truth Social that we're going to get into. But like I said, we need a bit of context before we do. So let's get into what Donald Trump had to say about Elon Musk right here.
So Democratic lawmakers are really upset that Doge engineers have access to these Treasury payment systems. The Senate Intel Challenge wrote a letter to Susie Wiles. They're saying that these systems are used to disperse trillions of dollars each year and contain everyday Americans' personal information like social security numbers, home addresses, bank accounts. Why does Doge need all of that?
Well, it doesn't, but they get it very easily. I mean, we don't have very good security in our country, and they get it very easily. And what we're doing, if you look at what has just taken place with respect to some of the investments that have been made on another agency that people have been talking about for years, but nobody did anything about it, it's absolutely obscene, dangerous, bad, very costly. I mean, virtually every investment made is a con job. There's nothing of value to anybody unless there's a kickback scheme going on, which is possible. And we're going to be doing more and more of that. We're going to be looking at Department of Education. We're going to be looking at even our military. We're going to be looking at tremendous amounts of money, Peter, being spent on things that bear no relationship to anything and have no value. We're talking about trillions of dollars. It will be, in the end, trillions of dollars being absolutely wasted and perhaps illegally. I would say certainly in many cases illegally, but perhaps illegally overall. And I'm very proud of the job that this group of young people, generally young people, but very smart people, they're doing. They're doing it at my insistence. It would be a lot easier not to do it. But we have to take some of these things apart to find the corruption. And we found tremendous corruption.
So Elon Musk and his band of teenage misfit toys now have access to the most sensitive of our private information. They are hacking into government agencies they shouldn't even have anything to do with. Not that private contractor, biggest political donor in history, richest man in the history of the world, Elon Musk, should have anything to do with our government, but they have no oversight over some of these agencies, some containing nuclear secrets that Elon and his little band of buddies, I think one of them is called Big Balls, so that tells you the type of talent that they're working with over there at Doge. But none of these people should have access to any sensitive information, and Donald Trump doesn't seem to care. And I said this in a previous video, I don't want to give Elon any credit, but I think what he's doing is having as few conversations with Donald Trump about this as possible so that there's no liability for Trump. Or maybe it's smart of Trump to just let Elon run wild. But there's clearly no communication on this, and Donald Trump doesn't care that Elon Musk is breaking the law. Donald Trump doesn't care that Elon Musk doesn't have security clearances, and Elon Musk is happy to do whatever he wants because Donald Trump has let him invade our private data, even though there are thousands of conflicts of interest. It's crazy. And that is what made it so hypocritical with what Donald Trump just did, an act of revenge, really, against President Biden. Now, let's check that out right here. Trump says he's ending Biden's classified intelligence briefings in payback move. Donald Trump said Friday that he's revoking former President Joe Biden's access to government secrets and ending the daily intelligence briefings he's receiving in payback for Biden doing the same to him in 2021. Trump announced his decision in a post on social media platform shortly after he arrived at his Mar-a-Lago home and private club in Palm Beach. There is no need for Joe Biden to continue receiving access to classified information. Therefore, we are immediately revoking Joe Biden's security clearances and stopping his daily intelligence briefings. He set this precedent in 2021 when he instructed the intelligence community to stop the 45th president of the United States, me, from accessing details on national security, a courtesy provided to former presidents. This move is the latest in a vengeance tour of Washington that Trump promised during his campaign. He previously revoked security clearances for more than 4 former intelligence officials who signed a 2020 letter saying that the Hunter Biden laptop saga bore the hallmarks of Russian information operation. He's also revoked security details assigned to protect former government officials who have criticized him, including his own former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, who faces threats from Iran, and former infectious disease expert Anthony Fauci. Biden didn't immediately comment on the move. Biden ended Trump's intelligence briefings after the Trump helped spur efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election and incited the January 6th insurrection. Sounds pretty bad. At the time, Biden said Trump's erratic behavior should have prevented him from getting the intel briefings. Yes. Asked in an interview with CBS News what he feared if Trump continued to receive the briefings, Biden said he did not want to speculate out loud, but made clear he did not want Trump to continue to have access to such information. In his post, Trump cited the special counsel report last year into Biden's handling of classified documents, saying the Hur report revealed that Biden suffers from poor memory and even in his prime could not have been trusted with sensitive information. He ended his post saying, "I will always protect our national security. Joe, you're fired. Make America great again." I don't even need to explain it. Donald Trump should be in jail right now for stealing classified documents. Donald Trump should have never had access to the sensitive security briefings he got as the Republican presidential nominee during the campaign because he was a criminal who mishandled government secrets after leaving the White House. And now he's saying Joe Biden shouldn't have access to those because he accidentally took home some documents and immediately gave them back. It's vengeance. It's faux outrage over our national security. If you cared about our security, maybe you don't give Elon Musk, with his ties to foreign adversaries, unlimited access to government information. It gets tougher and tougher every day, guys. It really does. But it's only going to get better if we call it out. And speaking of call it out, I think we'll see some of that right here.
But we begin tonight with Donald Trump's shock and awe strategy, which is starting to feel a lot like more shock and a little less awe. He's been making a blizzard of moves in these first 18 days of his second administration, meant to inspire fear and outrage, creating problems and then pretending to solve them so that he can look like a savior, keeping his promises to his base. And while it's all really bad and destructive, I think it's important to sort out the actual fires from the smoke and mirrors, because let's face it, we can't react to everything effectively all at the same time. But that's what autocrats and coup leaders want, right? While we're running from fire to fire, Trump and Elon's little Doge gang are dismantling our federal government from within. So just for a moment, let's just take a step back and look at what he's been saying versus what he's been doing. Trump announced 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, which sent the markets into a tizzy, all for him to pull a reverse at the last minute, claiming he got major concessions, when in reality, Mexico and Canada basically reiterated the same border security measures they had already agreed to under Joe Biden. Trump backed down and got nothing. The administration is also blitzing the airwaves and social media with terrifying pictures of what they claim is the largest deportation operation in American history. But as Politico reports, the number of daily ICE arrests trumpeted each day on X Twitter are still about where they were at times under President Barack Obama. Many of those detained have no violent criminal history, and the White House said Wednesday that more than 400 migrants have been released for lack of detention capacity, among other reasons. So catch and release, yeah? Ugly, expensive, and yes, performative arrests that absolutely make communities feel terrified, but for almost no new result. Then there's the executive order banning transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. Transgender people make up less than 1% of our population, and there are fewer than 10 collegiate athletes who identify as transgender in the whole country. That was not me stuttering. I said 10. The federal government bullying 10 Americans is bizarre and cruel, but as I explained yesterday, the federal government does not mandate who can play in school sports. If local school boards decide to mimic that ugly EO, it is awful, yes, but local voters will be able to hold them accountable. As for America taking over Gaza to turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East, the administration has already walked that one back, especially his shambolic talk about sending in U.S. troops. He posted on his social media today that no troops will be needed since Israel will just hand over Gaza to the U.S. once the war is over. Okay, so Israel will somehow physically expel 2 million Palestinians, which, by the way, is definitional ethnic cleansing, and then hand over Gaza to us to colonize with no military protection. Yeah, that should go over great. Speaking of countries that Trump is threatening to go to war with, after the State Department claimed that U.S. government vessels can now transit the Panama Canal for free, which would save the government millions of dollars a year, the president of Panama came out and said, nope, no, you can't. And this morning, Trump called for CBS to lose its FCC license and for its news show 60 Minutes to be immediately terminated after the network caved and released the full unedited interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris from October, which shows, surprise, surprise, nothing abnormal. This is the part where I tell you that CBS as a network does not have an FCC license. Local stations do. So why all of the smoke? Forgetting what they've said, we know that what the Trump-Musk gang have actually done is that Elon's Doge gang have gained access to files at the Treasury Department, the Office of Personnel Management, Small Business Administration, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the Department of Education, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and Veterans Affairs. They've requested access to the Department of Labor, which houses confidential information, including for whistleblowers, economic data, and other personal information. But after a group of unions sued, they've been blocked by a judge until tomorrow. Now, naturally, this has triggered panic within the federal workforce and across the country because unvetted and unqualified Musk sycophants are rummaging through highly sensitive data. Newly minted Treasury Secretary and multimillionaire Scott Bessent dismissed all of this as nothing but squawking.
It is insane who Elon has let have unfettered access to the most important information and systems of government operation in our country. It's crazy. It's criminal. And we're going to call it out every single day on the show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.